evening, everyone. Onegaishimasu. Let me read you a Setsudo, teaching the way of the universe. There is no selfish person who fulfills the way of the universe. If you awaken to the principles and way of the universe, you are given the responsibility from the universe to share them throughout the world. Do not say that you don't have the strength to help people. If you have this experience one day, you are already a teacher for that experience. The world is full of people who are lost and are suffering from an unhealthy mind. Let us share this awakening with others with all our hearts. So I'd just like to say something about this way of the universe this morning, a little something more. So the teacher doesn't come with a big pile of information that the student's job is to squeeze and then get that information. No, not at all. Actually, the teacher just is showing the way to follow the universe, the way to follow the way of the universe. But the way isn't like a formula, you know. So the Dharma or the teaching that we follow is it's not written down somewhere. Do you understand? It's not like a map. It's not a story. It's not a formula that you follow in order to know, okay, now I know what is the way of the universe and I'm following it. That's what I mean by the teacher isn't giving a bunch of information that's not his or her job. The way is the way that your life is unfolding before your very eyes. Following that way selflessly, without making demands on it, without attempting to edit it, without attempting to influence and manipulate it. This is following the way of the universe. And no one can say there are an infinite number of ways up the mountain. No one can say this is my way is the way. Of course, because everybody's is unique. And it's a slope that we're moving on, and we're following the pathway. We're hiking up this slope. We might get a glimpse of the summit every now and then as we're hiking, but we don't know how far it is or if we're ever going to reach the summit. It's not about a reward of arriving somewhere. Life is following the way. And one other thing about that is, it sounds like I'm saying it is your way. Well, it is in the sense that it's unique to you, but it doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want to do. It doesn't mean we can just go, oh, this is my way, so I can just do whatever I like. No, it's not like that at all. There is a higher part of ourself. Oh boy, that's so formulaic. That's not the right way to say it, you know. The way is so much larger than our little small mind. So we just need to train our small mind to be like an otomo, and the way is the sensei. So we just follow the sensei. We follow the way. And, you know, when we're studying with a teacher, that's just sort of a metaphor. So pretty much I don't have a teacher now. But I'm but the way is my teacher. And that's actually the same thing is true for every one of you. But we do have these classes so that I can support your effort, because there are things in each of our lives that stand in the way of us being able to clearly access the way, to clearly perceive how the way is unfolding for us. And so the teacher's job is to help us get those things, set them aside, or transform them into something useful. Yeah. So the student's job is just to do that, to follow that support, to accept that support. And so develop a clearer and clearer perception of what this way is that we're following every day. And so one of the practices, probably the most important practices that we do, key breathing, key meditation, whole body meditation, these practices sharpen our mind. These practices develop stronger and stronger capacity to be in attention. When we're in attention, we're able to most clearly follow the way. So that's why we do this sitting together. All right, let's begin with some key breathing. So, of course, in our practice, we have many specific practices and principles even that describe how to approach those practices. Like, for instance, the 5 principles of Shinshintu Utsuhai Kido, extend ki, respect your partner's ki, know your partner's mind, put yourself in the place of your partner, and follow and lead your partner with confidence. So, yeah, so we have those kind of guidelines, but we have to be very, very flexible in the way that we apply those, because nothing ever is repeated. Everything is unique and original in every single moment. Right, so you never know where, we never know where we're going to be taken following this way of the universe. We don't know what's going to happen or open up. And so it doesn't follow any principles. You know, the principles are just there as a suggestion to help us understand how to approach following the way of the universe and how not to approach following the way of the universe. Okay, so maybe someone would like to say something or ask a question. About your experience following the universe. Crystal, would you share something with us, please? Crystal, are you here? It says you're here.
To put my headset on, Sensei. Okay, I'm here.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Sensei. During these times, I have many obstacles, I think, in following the way of the universe, and I'm struggling with acceptance during this meditation. I feel I have a need to accept how the way of the universe evolves. And sometimes I feel during the meditation that there's a wider stream, a wider stream. I don't know if the English word is correct. Like the wave in the ocean is getting wider, and sometimes I get a glimpse. But at the moment, I have many obstacles to accept and to put on my in my partner's mind, and yes, in my private life, I think I have many obstacles and challenges. That's how it is at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we all have preferences, right? We all prefer to be very comfortable and to be made to feel very comfortable by the people and circumstances in our private life. But of course, that's not the way of the universe. That's the way of our small mind preferences. There's nothing wrong with having preferences, of course. But I think I would take issue with calling them obstacles. Yes, we can make them obstacles, but in and of themselves, they're not obstacles. Everything is there, here, to support us. There's nothing that happens that is not to support us. There's nothing that happens that is mean-spirited or actually wants us to fail or wants us to feel bad or feel uncomfortable. There's nothing like that in the universe. We make things like that because we don't really recognize the relative value of our preferences. So of course, we all have this, what you're describing. I mean, we're all human beings. So we're all faced with this, myself also, everyone you'll ever meet, no matter how great they are. Even the Buddha had these same things to address. Of course, more experience gives us more opportunity to recognize the relative value of preferences and non-preferences. They're not wrong. They're not to be discarded or pushed against, or we are not to be criticized for having preference or non-preference, or even for ignoring something. Life is made of attraction, aversion, and indifference. That's all of our lives are like this. So because of that, not in spite of that, but because of this, we follow the way of the universe. And in fact, the way of the universe is made of those things. It's not that they're standing in the way. In the beginning, I said, well, one of the jobs of the teacher is to help us get the things out of the way that are standing in the way. That's sort of a standard way of saying that. But I'd much prefer to look at these things as part of the way. There's nothing standing in the way of the way. The way is the way. That's what this is. There can be nothing standing in the way of it. There can be nothing inhibiting us unless we make it so. So you're free, completely free to proceed with joy. Don't you think so?
Yes. But I go back sometimes to some green Tara meditation. I don't know if you know it. It is
I know it.
yes. I'm going back to the old mantras, and I'm used to be and sure and do keep breathing and so on. So yes, but it's not easy at the moment. I study all the teachings from you because it's not at the moment I have too much work to stay in the lessons on Sunday on Saturday. Yes, so
No,
I do my best, Sensei.
that's the way it is. So I'm sure
Yes.
everything is just exactly right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Please, someone else, please say how it's going for you.
Morning, Sensei.
Oh, good morning, Celine.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. It speaks to me that how much like a habit or nature that I want to resist things when things not coming out the way I want. Sometimes, for the reason of maybe changing the dynamic of situation or trying to make things better. But whatever it is, I'm not following the way of the universe, the way. But my question is, sometimes at some point, like what you said, if it is not, it doesn't mean that we can do whatever we want. And if we're in that crossroad, sometimes feeling something is not quite right, we have to maybe do something to change the situation before it gets worse. What do we rely on as our compass or our gauge? Not to manipulate things, but do we rely on our common sense, our judgment? But it is the bad judgment sometimes to get us to that situation.
Yeah. We tend to think of it, even intellectually, maybe we know better, but we do think that there is a way that we need to get to, and that we're doing things that are preventing us from getting to that way. So like you say, I'm not following the way when I'm using my own manipulative tricks to make things come out the way I want them. But I would say that's what I said to Crystal. That's not quite the way it is. You don't have that kind of problem. You do and you don't, because whatever we do, the way is always unfolding in front of us. When we attempt to alter that way, to steer it to somewhere we like, it's very accommodating. It's infinitely flexible. So then now, it's fun. This is your way. The way is cannot help but be a perfect mirror for you. That's the mirror universe I'm always talking about. So as you attempt to manipulate it accommodates that perfectly and continues to show you the mirror. So then that becomes the way. So you are following the way, but maybe not always knowing that because you're busy, not really in attention. So when we're not in attention to this, when we're not aware of what's happening, we might be thinking instead about some way we'd like it to be or some way we wouldn't like it to be and attempting to do something about that. But voila, then you see the universe is constantly changing. It's always the mirror is always brought perfectly to us. Whatever we see, you understand, is a reflection of how we are evolving. Sometimes it's going really, really slowly. Sometimes we have great speeds up, and there's a great awakening. There's a great understanding that comes to us, right? And then other times it seems so dark and confusing and chaotic. But it's always the same. It's only us that makes it something different. So that's why I always teach that noticing is so important, awareness. Because even if we're in the midst of some manipulative action, so noticing that is really important. And we wouldn't notice it if it didn't happen. And so we wouldn't awaken to it if it didn't arise. So is that bad or is that good? Well, it's not either bad or good. It's just the way it is. Things come up, we pay attention. And then little by little by little, this business of drop by drop in our subconscious mind are plus. Noticing is always plus, always. Awareness is always plus. It's not good and bad, relatively good and bad. Awareness is just, we call plus, or in other words, it's a piece of awakening, a little bit of noticing, a little bit of getting it. That's plus. So then our subconscious mind changes that much just by noticing. Little bit, sometime it's a lot. Someday it's a lot. Okay, thank you. So, time is up. Thank you, everyone, very much. See you soon.